to this. COVID-19 has become a distant memory for many of us, but it's all coming back to the surface this week as public hearings of a royal inquiry take place. Businesses, community leaders, individuals have been having their say about the effects of lockdowns, vaccine mandates, other hardline rules. Here is what the Northland Chamber of Commerce President Tim Robinson had to say about the second lockdown.
As business, the minute you have a challenge put in front of you, you come up with a creative solution to adapt, to do things differently, and to find a solution to whatever the new normal actually is. But we were never ever once brought to the table and I guess invited to sort of say, well, okay, what's our perspective? Is there a way around this? Can we do things differently? It was just, nope, we just need to go back into lockdown. It's like, well, yeah, okay, I understand from a particular health perspective that's one way of doing it, but are there alternatives? And we'll never know because we never had the chance to examine that.
We never had the chance to examine that. Maria Slade, does Tim Robinson's comment reflect the feeling of business owners more widely about the COVID years?
I think you have to divide the country a little bit into Aucklanders and the Northlanders who were affected because of the great big Auckland lockdown, and everybody else. I was here living through it, as probably a number of you were, and you'd be ringing family and friends down the line and they'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot you're still in lockdown.
Yeah.
That 4-month closure of the borders was just extremely painful for a lot of people, and it went on too long and it was impractical. And I remember Jacinda Ardern talking about how we were not going to be let out of detention sort of thing until the 3 DHB vaccination rates reached a certain level, and Manukau was just never going to get there ever. And it was just it was you felt like you were being punished. It felt like Auckland had been thrown under a bus, and I think that what he's saying reflects some of that sentiment.
Russell Norman?
I think it's a very courageous thing for us to try to learn the lessons from all of this in the middle of there's a lot of people who have preformed opinions about what was right and what was wrong about all of it. But really, we as a society need to try in the middle of all of that to figure out what we got right, what we got wrong, and what we can learn from it. And I really admire that we're trying to do that. I really do mean that, because I think it's quite hard to do it in the middle of some very, very concrete opinions that are widespread in our society about what was right and what was wrong.
Because as Dr. Brian Betty said on the panel yesterday, there's going to be another one.
Yeah, there will be. And what say a mysterious virus came tomorrow and none of us knew what the result of it was going to be and how deadly, and then people started dying. And imagine if you were in control in a government. Now, that's the sort of position and the shoes that people need to put themselves in. I hated the lockdown as much as anyone, and I get the frustration from business people, but the great unknown, and, really you're faced with that equation and that balancing scale between health and human life in some instances, and business and commerce going forward. So these are pretty difficult calls. I totally agree with Russell Norman that it's really imperative that we work out how better to deal with a pandemic next time. I'm not sure that a lot of this is going to be this. It seems like a bit more of a bloodletting exercise where people are going to vent their frustrations about the lockdown and about the vaccine mandates. And I'm not sure how much we'll learn from that.